In this video, I'm going to be breaking down the two different types of personal training models, how they work, advantages, disadvantages, so that by the end of the video, you have a very clear understanding of how to charge your clients and what model is going to work best for you. If you're new here, my name is Alexander Lyon. I'm a personal trainer in London. I have been for 10 years now. I'm currently making around £90,000 a year, working 3 days a week. And on this channel, I help personal trainers to improve their business and have more impact with their clients. So if that sounds good to you, then hit the subscribe button, click that little bell, and let's get into it. First things first, what are the two different models? The first one is a subscription model. The way that works is you charge on a weekly or a monthly basis for a set number of personal training sessions in that period. That then acts as recurring revenue, and then the client is able to cancel with a set notice period. The second model is packs, and that's when you charge, everyone charges different, but I charge 10 or 20 sessions up front, so you get more money up front, and then you work them off as and when schedule allows. For most of my career, I ran the subscription model, and now I run with packs. So there are advantages and disadvantages to both, and I'm going to break them down for you now, starting with the subscription model. Now, the way I used to run it back in 2018 was I would have 3 ways people could engage with me. 1 was 1 session a week, 2 was 2 sessions a week, and 3 was 3 sessions a week. For 1 session a week, I was charging £50 a week. For 2, I was charging 90, and for 3, I was charging 120, right? So per session, that was 50, 45, 40. That incentivized people to do more sessions per week and as a result, fill up my diary faster. In order to engage with me, my sell was very simple. Today, you only have to pay for your first week of training, and then that will be charged on a weekly basis and you can cancel anytime. So if you consider that my biggest pack today is £1,600, that's £1,600, or I could sell £50, then one is a lot easier to sell than the other, especially to a stranger you've just met. Now, to be fair, later on, I then added a 2-week cancellation policy on my subscription because it was getting to the point where my income was becoming a little too volatile and unpredictable. Everything would be fine for a few months, and then suddenly 4 clients would stop training with me the day before I was supposed to get paid. Suddenly my income takes a hit, and then you have to start prospecting, and that's a couple-week process to get more clients. So I had to put that notice period in just to protect myself a little bit more. One advantage I loved about the subscription model though was that every Friday there was money in my account. I was always being paid, right? Which is different because with packs, they can be fewer and more fleeting. You can get big payouts, but you might not get another one for 6 weeks, right? So you have to be a little bit smarter with your money. It is important to note though that if you have a client base or you're operating in an area where clients travel a lot and they're in and out of the country and they're just a bit more aloof, like they are in London, especially Southwest London, then the subscription model can get messy because they may be on a 3 session per week model, but then they go to New York for a week and then they come back and they're so tired they then miss 2 more sessions and then they only come to the 6th one. Suddenly you owe them 5 sessions and then you have to go on the payment system, you have to kind of change it around, let them catch up. Next thing you know, they've canceled another session, so now you're even further behind. So this only really works smoothly if you have clients with regular schedules that can commit, at least for large periods at a time, on a very regular basis. Another advantage of the subscription model though, is that you don't have to keep selling your clients, right? With packs, you sell 1 pack and then you have to renew and you have to sell the next pack, right? Because it's a much larger amount of money up front. With subscriptions, it just automatically comes out their account. So you don't even really talk about it that much usually. I mean, don't get me wrong, I'd recommend you checking in about it, but it's not really a conversation. It's going on in the background. No one's really focused on it. And because there's a lot less friction when someone's taking 50 or 100 pounds out a month, right? Rather than thousands, it doesn't have to be as big of a conversation, and that's a huge advantage for you. There are 2 main ways that I'd recommend to charge your clients on a subscription model. 1 using Stripe and 2 using Go Cardless. Stripe, you are essentially charging their card on a weekly basis. If their payment bounces, nothing really happens on their end. So you can find yourself having to chase payments, right? Even though it's supposed to be on automatic, if there's someone that's giving you a disposable card or there's someone that transfers money into a spending account and then they pay you and they've just forgot that time, that then adds extra admin for you. Whereas with Go Cardless, you're not charging their card, you're charging their account. The difference being is when you charge their account, that's a direct debit. So you have to actually sign a direct debit guarantee. Now, that's a little bit more serious, right? It doesn't cost anything more or anything like that. But what it means is on their end, the clients are gonna like fuck around a bit less, right? And they're gonna respect it because it's a direct debit. And then when you miss direct debits, that then affects your credit score. So there are two ways to do it. I always would run it on Go Cardless because there were lower fees at the time. I'm not sure about now, but also you had a lot less clients messing you around. Because at the end of the day, your job is not to be chasing payments. You just want to be paid so you can crack on with the job and deliver a great service. That's really the key here. Now, before we get into speaking about packs, if you haven't already, please consider hitting the subscribe button and hitting the little bell so that you can be notified every time I release an upload. And with that being said, let's move into packs now. Straight away, the main difference with packs is they're way harder to sell, right? That's the main consideration here. It depends how experienced of a salesperson you are. But they're a lot harder to sell because you're simply asking for lots more money up front. But overall, across the industry, from what I've seen, I would say packs are more popular. And there are a few reasons why. First of all, you're able to budget a little bit better, right? If you had what I had in 2018, which was a cancel at any time policy, you don't know how much money you're making that month, right? So you are playing a bit of a guessing game and you're gambling a little bit. You're backing yourself to make sure that you retain your clients and that you're able to get new clients as and when. But you don't know exactly what your financial forecast looks like. And as a self-employed professional, you have other bills aside from your business. You have rent, you have bills, you have holidays and whatever. So that can be a bit of a problem, whereas packs, because you've got the money up front, all you have to do now is service it. At least you can manage and budget a little bit better. Secondly, and to be honest, this is actually the reason why I do it now, this is the main reason, is because it gives clarity to the coaching relationship. I always try to sell 20 sessions up front, right? Sometimes 10, but usually 20. Reason being, it locks us in this relationship, right? You are gonna get coached and I'm gonna coach you. There's no like canceling and then pissing off in 2 weeks, right? We're in this together now, we're a team, and I like the clarity that gives. I'm committed to you and you're now committed to me. Whereas with this cancel anytime or even within 2 weeks notice, as soon as things get tough in training, which they always do if you're training properly, then people find excuses, they find reasons to quit. That's how they do it, right? And that's part of the problem. So I always sell it as, listen, if I'm gonna commit to you, you've got to commit to me. The other thing is packs allow you to be a little bit more flexible with your schedule and also allows the clients to be a little bit more flexible in the way they train with you as well, right? There's no set number of sessions they have to do that week, right? There's no set number of sessions you have to do that week either though. So that's the benefit. Like if you wanna take a day off, there's nothing to say that you're not allowed to do that. Do you know what I mean? It's your business. You're going to do the 20 sessions, but you're taking a day off. Like, it is what it is. Now, before I close up, I want to go a little bit deeper on the sell here with packs, because that is the main difference and the main reason why people aren't prolific with packs, right? Everyone can sell the odd pack, but can you sell them consistently? Now, the first thing you need to consider is who are you selling these packs to and how much are these packs? Now, in London, where I train literally opposite Clapham Junction Station, right? In a private studio, literally across the street from one of the top 3 busiest stations in the whole of Europe, right? So we've got millionaires everywhere. Like it's a very different vibe to a lot of people. So I'm able to charge 1,600 up front and a lot of people don't blink. However, even going back a few years to when I was working more in Acton in London, which is a lower income area, most people earn £1,600 to £2,000 in a month. So from a cash flow perspective, regardless of how much they want to engage in PT, they don't actually have that money. Like, they don't have it. It's something that they would have to save up for. And that's a very different thing. If you've got that disposable income from your paycheck or from your dividends because you're a business director, or you know, you've got loads of investments coming through, or you just had a big wad of cash from a divorce or whatever, right? It's different because you have the cash, it's there. If you don't have the cash, you have to save up for it. And now the sell becomes a lot more difficult. So the first thing you have to consider is, if you are going to sell packs, can the people in your gym and in your area actually afford what you're offering from a cash flow perspective? There's always going to be someone that can, but can you do that and repeat that process over and over again? That's something you need to consider. One more thing to note with packs is that the client is under no obligation to give you a notice period of cancellation. Once they've got to the end of their packs, they can renew or they can not renew, right? So what I would strongly recommend is that when you get 5 to 10 sessions before the end of the pack, you're starting to check in a bit more regularly. You're starting to say, how are you finding personal training? Do you have any feedback for me? Is there anything that you like or you don't like that would help me to train you better? Get a really good understanding of where their head's at. Just so I understand, are you looking to continue this like moving forward? Because we have about 7 sessions left. You need to get that, because what you don't want to do is assume they're going to renew. You get there, and maybe you've got 2 or 3 that you think are going to renew that week, and then none of them renew. So as you can see, there are advantages and disadvantages to both the subscription and the pack method. My honest answer is that if you are not an experienced salesperson, but you need to get clients, just go subscription. It's way easier to sell. Get more reps under your belt, get more confident in selling yourself and your services without the pressure of then dropping a huge 4-figure number on them. And just build that confidence. Because once you've got that confidence, you've got that conviction, you can then change to packs if you prefer, right? Maybe not with those same clients, but when you get new clients, you can then switch to packs if that's the preference for you long term. And that's it from me, guys. As I say, if you find that valuable, then I'd love to hear your comments below as well. Hit that subscribe button, and I will see you in the next one.